Welcome back to another talk show, 1010 Baltimore. I'm excited today, extremely excited, because I have here two individual young men who are really doing some good things, and I want to introduce them. To my immediate left here is Mr. Nigel Brown, from the Stop the Fatherless movement.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, welcome on the show, man.
Thank you, man.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
And on my right, Neville Hodge. And you're also part of the Stop the Fatherlessness movement.
Yes,
and as well, you have a business. You have an organization as well.
Correct.
Tell us about that. What's the name of it?
My organization is called D.R.I.V.E. It's a mentoring program. D.R.I.V.E. stands for determination, respect, integrity, vision, excellence.
Wow.
And what we do is we provide life skills throughout the city, throughout the community for young males and young females in between the ages of 8 to 17 that provide culinary skills. We also provide tutorial skills, mentoring, employment job readiness, and we also have a career path where we can kind of mold that individual that's, for example, that's interested in being an engineer. We also have architectural groups that we do with that individual to kind of prepare them for the next level of, adulthood, being self-sufficient.
Wow, that's great. That's great. So, guys, man, tell me about the movement. I of course, I've seen it all over social media. Right. Stop the fatherlessness. Yeah. It's like a major hashtag. Yes. When I first saw it, I was like, well, what is this? And I just saw people posting in there, and then I joined it, and I started seeing every time somebody posts, and it was like, it was just like random pictures, like guys with their sons, having activities. Tell us about the movement.
It started actually from my son.
Okay.
Me and his mom, we had issues with co-parenting effectively. And I just created it to, I figured if I can't change her mindset, I would change the world around her, right? So when I started it, it was like, okay, let's just put it out there. And I didn't realize how many men was keeping their fatherless issues tucked away. You know what I'm saying? Because we play sports, we fight, we have all these things to deflect testosterone. So we never address not having a father.
Right.
Which is real interesting about me and Neville's dynamic, because I've known Neville for 20 years now, and he's had his father. He was raised by his father, so he was in a class by himself. All our friends didn't have fathers, but he didn't have his mom to raise him. So in the way he looked at our situation, like, damn, I wish I had a mom. And we looked at him like, yo, you got your dad.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
right.
Long story short, when it came out, I was surprised at how many men were really like, yeah, man. And it just gave a platform for true fathers. And, a lot of people say, you're supposed to do that. You don't get a cookie for what you're supposed to do.
Right.
And I agree. But we're not supposed to be silent either.
Right.
Because there's a lot of imagery out there of the opposite. So why not provide a place for people like myself, you, Neville, and so many other fathers to be excited about fatherhood. You know what I'm saying? It has to be fun again.
Right.
And it just kind of grew legs on its own, man. It was something I enjoyed to watch, to see how many dads and mothers who were just proud to say, yo, this guy is a great dad to my children.
Right.
So it just kind of took legs and ran. And I'm proud of that, man.
That's good. I love it. I absolutely love it. So did y'all start it together, or did you start it, Nigel, and then you brought in the...
Well, we came together. Everything, like, again, that's 20 years.
Okay.
So when I was talking about it, I came to him like, yo, I got this idea. He's like, yo, run with it. I'm like, all right, well, look, I'm gonna do this. And, he's been doing, like, he's being bashful right now. He went through the school, he has his degrees, he's certified to do what he does.
Wow.
I'm just a current father, right? So I went to him like, yo, bro, we should do this together since you have the mechanics. Like, you do the things that it takes to train these children. We have the platform, let's bring it together. And me and him, we had our times in high school, we were knuckleheads coming up. And anybody that knows to tell you that, we dealt with everything that's involved with growing up without a dad.
Right.
And it's an honor now to see him grow into the man he's become. And I know he's looking at me the same way. And now we can actually change somebody else's life.
Right.
Can't ask for nothing better, man.
Right. And Neville, you started the mentorship program Was that right around the same time that y'all started the movement, right after? Or?
Well, like Nigel said, I've been in the field since 2003, where I graduated from Morgan State with my bachelor's degree in psychology. And I've always been in the field. I've always had a passion to give back and just change lives. Like Nigel said, my dad has been a very influential person in my life. And over the years, I've noticed, just being a parent myself, how important that piece is to a child, a son or even a daughter. So when Nigel expressed that he has this movement, my biggest question to him was why? And he shared some things with me that, like he said, 20 years that we've been friends that I wasn't aware of with his relationship with his dad. And it just put it all to fruition because I was like, oh wow, this is amazing because these are the things that I never knew about him that he was dealing with not only internally but as a parent, being a father to his children. And I just said, well, listen, this is something that we can bring together. I can provide a service that, necessarily other people may not be able to provide through the fatherless movement.
Right.
But overall, it's something that we do together.
Right. Gotcha.
I am the vice president of StopFatherless.org, but actually he's also the vice president of the D.R.I.V.E Mentorship program.
Okay.
So it's hand in hand.
Gotcha.
So everything that we do it as a team.
Great.
And we also have a group of brothers that support us as well that comes in and actually provide life skill series and services to a lot of our young men and young women in our program. And it's just something that we have a great mission. We have a vision that we want to make sure that we can touch Baltimore City. Right. We can touch a lot of young people that's never had the opportunity to be a part of something, and just move forward.
Wow, that's great. Now, when you look at our city, and if I'm not mistaken, Nigel, you're from Baltimore, but you currently live in Atlanta, and Neville, you're from New York.
I am from New York by virgin, born and raised in the Virgin Islands, St. Croix. I did move to Baltimore when I was 16 years old, so I am from Baltimore.
Okay, all right, cool. Now when you look at, because both of you, I can tell you're passionate about young people and young people in our city here. And I guess my question is, how do you feel about the young people and the direction the young people are going, or the way that media exposes our young people to be going in our city?
Well, for me, like I said, I do this every day. The organization that I currently work for, it's a after-school program called the Adolescent Clubhouse. It's a free program at that. One of the things that I've noticed throughout the city is that a lot of our parents don't know about a lot of the available resources that's out there. And that in turn reflects on the parenting of the child. I see a lot of young people today that's actually indulged in a lot of behaviors that the normal person wouldn't indulge in. Drugs, gangs, just a lot of different things that at 15 a young man or young woman shouldn't be involved in. Right. So for me, it's more of a passion of just giving them an opportunity to do something different, and show them that you can do something different. A lot of our kids are hopeless, mainly because their parents are hopeless. And if your parents are hopeless, there's no reason for you to have any hope, because you're not being taught to have hope. So ultimately, it was just an opportunity for us to say, look, we have a void that we're seeing out there in the community where a lot of these young people don't value themselves. They don't value the next person's life. It's something that's ongoing, and in order for us to change that whole mindset, we have to engage them face to face. We have to be direct. We have to be supportive. We have to provide resources. You'll be surprised that the average young person is unable to go to the store, purchase something, and be mindful to say, let me check my bag and make sure I have everything. Right. And for me, that's the basic life skill. Right. So you walk away from the counter and you don't know what you have until it's too late. And this is something that I see on a regular basis. Just daily life skills. Right. Being able to tie a tie, being able to prepare yourself for an interview. I have people that come to interviews with sweatsuits on, with goals in their mouth. And that's just because lack of knowledge. Right. You're not aware. Right. So, I have a kind of a two-sided answer for that question in regards to, how I see our young people today. I'm very passionate about our young people. Right. I see them doing great things, but they need guidance. They need support. They need somebody to say, listen, I'll show you how to do it.
My take is a little bit harsher.
Okay.
It's a huge disconnect between the parent and child relationship to me. Like when I came up, it was you knew who the parent was or the adults in the room versus the children. You just knew. I mean, we all been in that situation where it's something over the house and they say, yo, the kids go to bed now, or y'all get out of here.
Right.
And to me, the internet changed a lot of that. Because now we all play in the same play box, right? I got the same phone, my son has the same phone. I can go on Instagram, look at whatever I want, and my son also can look at Instagram and look at whatever he wants, right? We're talking about 15.
Right.
Now see, our generation, we had to get off the porch, walk around, see the world to find out where you fit in that on this thing called life. Whereas now you have these kids who are doing it all from their bedroom, joining games on their phone. Like it's a whole nother world out here.
Right.
And the parents are also playing in that same area, that same mind space. So there's no distinct difference between the parents and the child anymore, right? So what you have is children who are looking at their parents like, what you gonna do? Now, I know for us, especially when you're growing up in a single parent home, eventually the son gets a little bit bigger, starts smelling himself, gets a little tall, and them spankings don't mean much. So you stay out an extra hour late, knowing you're gonna get the spanking because you're cool with the spanking, right? These days, man, these kids have they don't care about discipline. There's nothing there for a bad action. They just go home. That's why you see kids literally 9, 10 years old with the biggest guns you've ever seen, shooting, literally, in the alley, and they just go home. Nothing happens. You know, and to me, not to make it too long, but the riots is what really was a clear sign of where we are, where the city of Baltimore is. Because what I saw, and my friend Dominique Vaughn, who was definitely in the trenches during that time, was a bunch of kids, man. They was just kids, and they had enough. And there were no parents out there snatching them kids up, and the one that did was criticized for it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we have to find a way to get back to the old principles, not trying to come off like the old guy in the rocking chair, but we have to show these kids that there was a life before technology. Because right now, that's all they know. My children know how to program a phone without me even teaching them. So it's a gene that's in there. But we have to snatch it back, because there is no other generation, in my opinion, that's capable of doing it. Our generation is the only generation that knows technology now and knew life before it. You see what I'm saying? We are a very, very important generation to where these children go. It's literally on our laps to fix. There is no getting around it no more. There's no running. It's on us, these people out here. And this is it. And we have to look at it like it's a state of emergency kind of thing. If we don't, it's just gonna happen, and it'll repeat itself, right? But I could talk for hours, man. I'm going to cut.
Oh, it's all good, man. So here's the next question. You know, and great answers that you both gave. I want to know: do we change how we raise or mentor young people nowadays? Because if you think about it, during the time that we all grew up, you know, discipline, correction was different than it is nowadays. You know. So do you think that the change need to take place with the way we discipline young people, or does correction and discipline now advance with technology, and now there becomes a different way to reach or mentor young people?
Can I get this one, Bill? All right, real quick, get in and get out. I think that with technology being something that's in everybody's possession, I mean, constantly just in our phones, a lot of parents make the mistake of taking away technology as a form of discipline, and it can be used, in my opinion, as a form of enlightenment, right? Meaning, take the phone away, stop buying name brand clothes just for a little bit. Let your child struggle. You know what I'm saying? Let them see what it feels like to have downtime. All of us in this room, when you don't have your phone, you panic. You patting yourself, put your phone. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have to find a way to just detach this need to be a part of this fake cyber world. It's not real. But we have such we need it. Just to like something, post something. So to me, if parents find a way to shut that down as a form of enlightenment. Switch out the video games for books. Yeah, they're gonna hate you, they're gonna get joked. Take the phone. It's gonna be similar to a heroin addict going through withdrawals for real. If you put a kid in the room, you put an adult in the room with no phone for a week, and they're gonna go through something.
Right.
Adult.
Right. I got you.
Right? So I think if we find ways to do that and connect with them on that way, I think we'll see a little bit of progress.
I totally agree. And one of the things that I want to piggyback off Nigel, what he just said was, it's no accountability anymore. Parents don't hold their children accountable for anything. It's like you do something wrong, you still get rewarded for doing the wrong thing. And unfortunately, the accountability teaches you no life skills. You grow up, you become older, you forget to pay your bills, and you forget that accountability is that you may not have lights anymore. You may not have an option to go and jump in your car anymore because you didn't pay your bills for 6 months and you didn't realize that what comes with that. There's no accountability, and unfortunately, in this generation, the children are parenting the parents, and it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate because I know the parents who wants to be involved in their children's lives, but unfortunately they have no knowledge because they're so disconnected at the same time. So it's again, it's a lot of it, is generational. I was raised by my grandparents at one point. My parents took over, and at that point, it was certain skills that was passed down from each generation. And unfortunately, those things are missed now in our community. We have 3 and 4 generations of incarceration. We have 3 and 4 generations of dropouts. So it's no accountability for certain things. I had a situation the other day with a young person where her mom took him on a field trip. Her mom stated that she was going to pick the young person up. And this young person is 14 years old. So every time we do a field trip, I make sure that we account for not only your accountability, but for ours as well. So my question to the young lady was, hey, your mom coming to get you? She said no. So I put it on the young person as a young teen to be accountable for making a decision of, hey, my mom said she's not coming to get me. So when we returned from the field trip, the young person said, okay, I'm leaving, I'm getting a ride. And mom called and said, hey, I'm coming to get this person. But at the same time, mom never called me. She never called her daughter who has a cell phone. And there was no accountability on no ends. So in actuality, the young person got in trouble for leaving, the clubhouse without giving permission. And I sum all that to say, the parent was upset, not only with her, but mainly with us. Mainly because we didn't take the initiative to say, hey, let me call mom and say, hey, she already told us, because we've been through this before, she already told us you're not coming together. And the fact that you weren't there, it tells us that you weren't coming together. Her response was, F that, F this. It turned into something just unprofessional, and at the same time, the parent has to realize that the child is paying attention. So if you respond this way, why would the child respond any different? So, again, it's accountability. We have a lot of accountability in play.
I agree 100%. Now, when I look at the way I was raised, and when I look at the way young people nowadays, and let me just clear the air just to say this, because I don't want to bring all young people into a category to say that all young people have bad parents, all young people are misguided, and that's not necessarily the case. But we have a handful of young people in our city who are misguided, who lack the proper direction and guidance in the household to help steer them in the right direction. And I feel that nowadays it's important, because I believe that as the time changes, as technology changes, we must progress as well. So when you look at that, you mentioned it. You look at that family gathering where the children are separated from the adults, and then you look at nowadays where if you take that same principle, separate the children from adults, what do you create? Because now I'm stuck in a place where I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna use my son for an example. I have a son who was diagnosed with ADD, so now I have to give special attention, and because the world of medicine deem certain energies of a child as, a deficiency, now the child requires a little more attention, a little more care, a little more patience. And now I have to find myself being a little more patient in parenting, where I know when I was a child, if I did something, this warranted a beating.
Accountability.
Yeah, but now it's like, okay, I have to think, do I beat my child because they did X, Y, and Z, or do I talk to my child and make sure they understand that what they did was wrong and why they shouldn't do what they do? So I think it takes a level of transparency from the parent standpoint, because I know in mentorship programs, it's a lot of transparency, because you can't really correct a child like you would want to, like you would correct your own child. So it takes a level of transparency to allow a child to see who you are, what you went through, so that they understand that what they're going through or going to go through is not the first time somebody went through it.
Exactly.
So I want to ask the question, like, do you feel like the level of transparency given to the children is what's needed, or does it require more?
Definitely have to have a level of transparency. My approach is redirecting.
Mm-hmm.
You have to redirect the child. And when you redirect them, you have to show them the behaviors, because ultimately they have to see it, they have to feel it to learn it. That's just my approach. That's how I believe. So it is some transparency in that. It's a lot of transparency.
I think you have, as far as transparency goes, you have to give them the honest, like that brutal truth that our parents protected us from a long time. Right? And we got it how we were supposed to get it, because we didn't have the internet forcing all this stuff down our throats. Prime example, I was online, and I think the new J's, I don't know which J's came out, one of them shoes or something, and literally like a bull run was going through the mall, man, like trying to get these shoes, man. And it's like, as far as transparency goes, if parents really sat down and realized the time that their children living in. But see, the thing about it is, with us going to work, we're easily distracted now. So we take our kids to school for a couple hours, we're tired, we come home, cut the traffic, we cook food, and we do it again. But in that same time frame, your child's mind has been under attack constantly. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if we use the same information that's at all of our fingertips as a teaching tool, like, and this could be misquoted, but I'm sure it's pretty close. A pair of Jordans manufactured in China may cost between 16 cents and $25 for a pair of Jordans that many men have died over. 16 cents though? Like, that's something you find in under Cedar Valve's car. You understand? So it's like, if we use this, and it's right there, the first page on Google. If we sit our children down and say, hey, look, you like them Jordans? Cool. All right, go through the whole thing and get them. That's fine. But did you know that they cost that? You know what I'm saying? Like, that kind of transparency, because at this point, parents are at a very strong disadvantage. Because we see our children, a working parent sees his child like 2-3 hours out of the day. The rest of the time, the world's out. So within those 3 hours, you have to really take advantage of that. You have to constantly be at war. And it's not like I'm trying to scare people, you know what I'm saying? But at what point do we start practicing true urgency? You know what I mean? At what point do we really say, yo, somebody's trying to kill my child, and I need to step in there and make sure that it's not happening, whether it's mental death or physical death. I have to get in there, and transparency does that. It tells them the ugly truth about what's really going on. And the problem is, in my opinion, a lot of parents, because we're occupying the same space, we want the same things they want. You know, our generation is at fault for that, because see, we started that with Run DMC, we had to get the Adidas and all of that. But the difference is, we had to go to our parents to get that stuff. Our parents, my mother didn't want the new shell toes. You know what I'm saying? But nowadays, I want the same thing that my son wants. That's a problem. And we gotta break that up. You know, but transparency is definitely the key. It's gonna hurt, but it has to happen.
And I agree so much, because when you look at, and I don't know if y'all can attest to this, but it's definitely one of the things I can attest to. when things happen when you were younger and you were curious to know a little more information about it, you asked mom, dad, grandma, and whatever they told you was it. You know, you believed it. Like you still have people doing things that's traditional because they believe that this is what you do because mom told me. You know, I never researched it. This is what mom told me, so I believe it. But now we have a generation of young people who, like y'all said, they got Google, Siri. You know, they got Siri. You know, they have social media, so they can find out about certain topics before mom and dad or guardian get a chance to even explain or teach to them. They've already learned it. So now it makes the parenting job even harder because now I have to beat the world to the punch. You know what I mean? Is that what we're dealing with now?
That's exactly what we're doing.
We're dealing with a group of young people who have Google, social media, and Siri and all these research tools right at their fingertips. So they know what sex is before the parent get a chance to talk about the birds and the bees.
Please let me just get in here.
Please, go ahead. I need it.
I want to share this story. I love you, Julia. I love you, baby. I love you. All right. About 2 years ago, my daughter's 9 now. I'm talking 2 years ago.
Okay.
7. And TV, songs, radio, all this stuff is going on. And the word sex, somehow, sex hit her brain and it became something. All right. So come to find out she was at school, her friends was talking about it, all this other stuff. So they have a computer lab. All right. My daughter goes to school one day, types in the word SEX. Right. Stuff comes up.
Wow.
Now, as a father, like I almost fainted. For the simple fact that she was even that curious.
Right.
Then I had to say, okay, hold up, how is this happening? Like, what is happening in her world?
Where's the filter?
Where's the filter?
Right.
But what is happening in her world?
Right.
While I'm at work, doing this, doing that, what is going on in the conversations amongst 7-year-olds?
Right.
Okay? Because all it takes is one, like for us, not to get too creepy, you know what I'm saying, but for us, for men, you know, that industry, you had to, it was that crazy tape that you found over your uncle's house or something.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or the scrambled TV, joint you try to, you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking
But it's
about.
like now, it's a click. Every phone has it.
Yeah.
Every phone has it. And when she did that, it really made me realize that I wasn't doing as good of a job as I thought I was. So I started monitoring the music that we play randomly, not letting her just sit in the room with Nickelodeon, because they kissing each other and wilding out.
Right.
So it just made me really start looking more into how I was doing things. And I just want to share an example with you, and I hope other parents use this because it worked for me. But music these days, it's a very, very powerful force. We already know that. And I did a test one time. I was driving to work. Not to work, we was on a road trip and the kids were in the car and I had regular music playing, right? They turned up, doing anything without, all right, boom. And it was very just amped. So I cut jazz on, right? And calmed the whole car down. Right. And I looked in the rearview mirror and they were just staring out the window in deep thought. And I'm like, damn, it's powerful. Because see, the music is telling our children who to be, what to like, what not to like, all of that. Right. And I encourage parents to utilize jazz, man, because it really does give your children time to just disassociate from what's normal. Right. And their thoughts will create itself versus being told who to be and what to be. Right. I just wanted to share it. It worked for me, so I hope it works for somebody else, you know what I mean? Wow.
It's extremely imperative that we find innovative ways to engage our children.
Right.
It's just a must at this stage of the game. Like Nigel said, the accountability part, you know, at one point, my son is 16 now. At one point, I wouldn't even play certain music in my car till he got of age to relate to it. Right. So now that we're listening to kind of the same music, but it took till he was about 15 for him to be comfortable with playing his music around me. Because we never played that in the car as he was growing up. So again, you have to find innovative ways to engage your children. Because times has changed, and it's changed where these children need to be engaged on a different level, a totally different level.
That's good, that's good. Now, you both being actively involved in the D.R.I.V.E. mentorship program, I want to just zero in on that for a second. The mentorship aspect of what you do you find that young people embrace the support and guidance that they get from y'all in the mentorship program?
I think it's a touchy situation, and I'm gonna tell you exactly why.
Okay.
You have to have people that can relate and identify with these young people. You know, I do have a degree, but I didn't learn my skills in the books.
Right.
I learned my skills from my experience being in the field.
Right.
So overall, you have to have young people, you have to have mentors that can relate and identify to the young people on every level. Abandonment issues, sexual abuse issues, substance abuse issues. You have to be able to identify with these things because they will put it back on you.
Right.
So if you have people that's engaging these young people that does not and have not had any experience in that field,
right.
they won't be able to engage them because they're going to say that he don't know what he's talking about.
Right.
He don't know who I am. He's never been where I've been. And it's unfortunate, but at the same time, that's the reality.
Right.
So you have to get the right people in play in order to engage these young people.
Now, is there like a lack of mentors, or do you have like an overwhelming response from mentors, men stepping up to say, you know what, I want to help out?
I have an overwhelming supporting team.
That's great.
Overwhelming supporting team.
That's great.
On many different aspects. We have the physical fitness, DIPS, where they come in, they teach them how to exercise. They also teach them what to eat while they're exercising.
Wow.
We also have the culinary part where we have the young people learn how to cook. And we cook small meals. You know, we come home from school, the first thing we see in our community is fried chicken, French fries, the fast foods. You know, it's unfortunate, but at the same time, it's healthier things that you can eat or you can incorporate in your body that can give you a lot of energy, for one, and for two, to keep your mind at bay.
Right.
You know, we eat a lot of that greasy foods, and it destroys our body.
Right.
So we have that culinary piece as well. And then we have the job readiness / employment, where if you have a passion for something that you want to do, we will show you how to get to that place with job readiness skills. It's just something that has to happen. And you're going to hear me say life skills a lot because that's where I feel that's the most vital part of engaging young folks is life skills. They do not have the life skills needed to be successful.
So is that what D.R.I.V.E. mentorship really focus on, just helping young people building their life skills? Is that what y'all really zero in and focus on?
That's our main focus.
Okay.
That's our main focus.
That's great. Now, Nigel, tell us a little more in depth the goal and mission of Stop Follow This movement. What is the goal?
The main goal is effective co-parenting. Definitely got to get back to better communication between mom and dad, right? Because that's really what it is. There's a lack of communication and awareness, man. I mean, it all starts with awareness. I've seen a lot of, I get a lot of mixed responses because, of course, you have some women like, it's very emotional, man. When you say this, very emotional. And you just have to get to we have to get to a point where a mother and a father can focus on one thing, that child.
Right.
If you remove everything else is babble, really. Like, trust me, man. I mean, I wish that I could say that I was speaking from a place where I got everything straight and it's going on. I'm just telling you how to be. Nah, you know, I could probably call my son mom right now. We'll get into a full-blown argument, right? like 10 seconds in. You know what I'm saying? So let's get this very straight. You know, so I'm still living this movement.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, communication to me is so important, man, because I'll spend 10 minutes talking about something that happened 8 years ago.
Right.
We're not even talking about my son no more. That's over with.
Right.
And you know, a lot of what we're doing is like far as offering like legal counsel, like having a place for men to go to, because the thing about men, in my opinion, is, you know, we have that barbershop talk. We love barbershop talk, right?
Right.
And we love to talk stuff about women, right? But when it comes to family structure, we don't have in-depth conversations about that. Like, we'll have baby mama talks.
Right.
We love them in the barbershop, but we don't really have a place where, you know, we can say, look, I have this issue.
Right.
Where can I go?
Right.
How do I do this? And that's what the whole purpose of this was to create a platform for that, you know? And so far, so good, man. I mean, we got a long way to go. Like, like the beauty in this, like with Tavon and Melvin, those, I salute those guys because I'm looking at the people who are here and so many more, but I'm doing this until I'm dead, man.
Right.
And it's like to know that I'm around people who have similar organizations that's going to be doing this for the next 20, 30, 40 years.
Right.
It's a pretty good start to change. But awareness is the key. Awareness, we have to first plant the seed to know, like, look, man, all that deadbeat stuff, we have to start, honestly, to be blunt, we got to start treating deadbeats like snitches. We can't keep allowing people who aren't fathers in our circles and we drinking with them and we having, like, I don't even trust you if you don't love your kids. Like, I don't even want you around me.
Right.
Like, we have to start judging men like that and raise this awareness, raise the integrity of what it means to be a man. Because quite honestly, if you have a child and you're not taking care of that child, what is your life really about? Like, what are you doing out here? And I'm gonna share a quick story for real, because this gave me goosebumps when it happened. I'm married, 3 kids, right? And my father, heroin addict, great guy today, you know what I'm saying, but missed my entire life, right? So I go over to my grandmother's house, and I'm going through my phone, and I show him a picture of me playing football in high school, and he looked at me, he said, "You play football?" Now, yo, I'm gonna tell you something, man. After all these years, you know, I tucked away that pain. I wasn't worried about it. I don't need him, whatever. When he said that, man, I went back to 9. Like, what you mean? I started thinking about how many practices he missed, how many games you missed. And my mother had to be there for that. And here you are, and you didn't even know. And it made me think, like, man, how many men are dealing with that, but just too prideful. I don't need this, I don't need, yeah, you do. Because trust me, it affects how you treat women, it affects how you treat yourself, all of that. But you gotta be honest with that pain though. If you ain't honest with it, so be it, it's all good. But if you are honest with it, you might actually grow from that. And I'm speaking from experience. So me and my father have a great relationship today, because I was able to just tell myself it's okay. You understand? And awareness, that's what this whole thing is about, man. It's just weeding them out. I want a man to be uncomfortable when he see my shirt. That's what I want. I want a man who's not taking care of his responsibilities to be upset. That's what I want.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's how we have to strike that chord. We can't play no more. That's it.
That's good. Man, so for those who don't know, the movement is Stop Fatherlessness. And thanks for the t-shirt, by the way.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna wait. If I had it yesterday, I'd had it on
It's
tonight.
all good. It's all good.
For those who don't know, Stop Fatherlessness is the movement, and these guys are raising awareness, so people know that there is a place to go. There is a group of people you can reach out to if you have those feelings of being hurt because you had a disconnect from not having an active father in life, and to also encourage and strengthen men to hang in there when they make the mistake of impregnating a woman. You know, so instead of running, get the support you need so you can hang in there and take care of your responsibilities. So at this time, I want to say thank you guys for coming out and sharing information.
Thank you.
And at this time, as we're closing, just if you can give your contact information, how people can reach you, maybe on social media, or if they're interested in being a part of D.R.I.V.E mentorship program or the Stop the Fatherless movement, you can give that information at this time.
Sure, go ahead, Nigel.
I want to say this too though first though. It's not just about dads. This is pro-parenthood. Okay? Moms, dads, everyone. If you had a child, that's what it's about. All right. So it's not just solely about dads, but you can go to www.stopfatherlessness.life. All right. There's a lot of stuff on there, pictures, the things we're trying to do, things we have coming up. We also briefly have in the works of putting the conference together in June. Things that are coming together.
Okay.
From June 3rd to June 6th so far. That may change, we're not sure. But that's going to be a great time. But on Facebook, if you hit the hashtag, you'll eventually get that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
You can get all the D.R.I.V.E information through the Stop Fatherless website as well.
Okay.
You can also email me at pcinc10@gmail.com, and I can be contacted at 410-961-1211.
All right, great. Any final comments, thoughts, anything?
Nah, can I kick a round real quick?
Go ahead, come on.
I just want to say thank
Yo,
you.
my man just like cringed just now. My man here in the crowd, he just like cringed just now.
I was a little nervous. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna keep it 100. Like I told him before, I'm more of a behind the scene type person.
Yeah.
You know, but he's been in my ear for so many years. Like
Right.
you're doing so much. You have to talk about it. You have to bring it to fruition. And I just want to, thank this brother for being my brother, but also being encouraging and motivating to me. But I also want to thank you for having us here today.
Absolutely,
It's a great opportunity to get the word out. It's a great opportunity to see some positiveness that's going on in the community. And I'm looking forward to building.
All right.
Baltimore City, you need to holler at Bruce. He got what you need.
All right. Thank y'all. That's our time again. I'm your host, Bruce Jackson. I thank everybody for coming out, tuning in, and I'll see you next week.
Hey. I want to thank the guys that were up here. They were talking about it. They were sitting there. I had a whole other program together, but they started talking about childhood. And I started remembering my childhood. They talked about mentorship. I had a mentor. It was called a belt. Amen. I had a belt, and sometimes when the belt wasn't available, but other mentor would step in, it was a switch, a Hot Wheel track. Sometimes it was a shoe. One time, my mother threw a cast iron pan at me, chased me around the block because I thought I was getting big and bad, so I wanted to flex my muscles. And I flinched. I mean, my mother's only about 4'11". I don't even know how she got the frying pan that quick, but she chased me around the block for about 2 hours. My sister's on the phone talking about, you better get home because she gonna kill him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like today you have kids that get time out. Time out was in between beatings. My mother would beat me and say, your father gonna beat you when your daddy get home. Amen? You know, I mean, the belt was a friend. I mean, the neighbor could beat you. Now you can't even look at a child, somebody kid straight. They want to come and get up in your face. Am I right? But sometimes, like one time, and like kids do stuff. Like they threaten to call 911 now. If I threatened to call 911, first of all, there's only one phone in the house. You had to get to the phone. And it was that rotary phone. Could you imagine if you messed up and hit 8 before you got the 9 and you had to start? I would be dead. I'd be at the morgue by the time. Kids pull out their phone now, I'm gonna call 911. I remember one time, I threatened to run away. I said, Mom, I'm running away. She said, son, you don't have to run, you can walk. You know what I'm saying? Messed my whole program up, And so parenting's different. Like, people today want to be their child's best friend. They have conversations with their child. When I was growing up, you say, you stay out of grown folks' business, amen? And so things are just different. I mean, kids, like, you could get in trouble now. I had a friend of mine, kid got caught for stealing. Next day they said, look, I'm going to the mall. If I got caught stealing, I would be the mall. I'd be underneath the mall. But I had great parents. I had a father and a mother that loved me dearly. One time I got to tell you this story. I'm more of a lover than a fighter, amen? And so one time I'm at driving school, and then I get into a fight with this guy. And I was winning initially, my story. And then as this car pulled up, the lights got in my eye, and some kind of way, the dude flipped me over and he was on top. If anybody ever remembers Starsky and Hutch, my mom came flying across the hood of my dad's Ford Taurus and jumped on the guy. I was like, Mom, let him go, we all going to jail.